In simple linear regression, we are concerned with a non-deterministic relationship that connects an explanatory factor to an outcome that we care about. Now, this relationship we suspect is going to be approximately linear, but we know that it's not going to be perfectly linear in practice. The data that we observe are not going to follow exactly along a straight line, but instead, some are going to be above the line, some are going to be below the line. And as a result, what we want to do is we want to be able to use these data to find what we think of as the best possible line. And this best possible line is going to be defined by the slope parameter and the intercept parameter from this line. And what our goal is going to be is how can we find those slope and intercept parameters using the observed data, knowing that the parameters that we're coming up with are not going to be deterministic based on the data. We know that the data are not going to uniquely produce one single line. Instead, they're going to be a noisy representation of that line. And so what we need to do is we need to come up with an estimation procedure in order to, well, first define what is it that we mean by the best possible line, but then second, using the data, how can we find that best possible line? Okay, so in the simple linear regression model, we're attempting to find the best line to fit the observed data between the explanatory and the outcome, and this is going to involve us performing parameter estimation. So the first thing that we want to think about is how do we actually go about defining our line of best fit? Well, the simple linear regression itself is going to be defined through the conditional mean, right? So we have the conditional mean of y given x. It's going to be given to us by this linear relationship here, where we take beta 0 plus beta 1 times by x. And so we know that this is sort of the relationship that we care about, and really what we are going to care about is determining beta 0 and beta 1. Now, the values here are going to be unknown in general, and so our goal is going to be to use what we do know in order to estimate those values. Now, what we actually observe, the things that we actually know, are going to be the pairs of observed outcome and explanatory factors. So we have y1, x1, y2, x2, all the way up to yn, xn. And we want to use these data in order to estimate the parameter values for beta 0 and beta 1. Now, actually forming our estimates, once we have sort of a process for doing that, is going to produce what we call y hat here. And y hat's going to be given to us by beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat times by x. And so it takes on basically the same form as our true regression model does. But what we're doing is we're taking this beta 0 hat as our estimate for beta 0, and we're taking beta 1 hat as our estimate for beta 1, right? And so instead of it producing y, we're going to say, well, this is going to produce y hat, which is in some sense an estimate for y. Okay? And so ultimately we want to say, well, what is beta 0 hat? What is beta 1 hat? Okay. In order to estimate this, we want to estimate this not just for any particular values, but we specifically want the best possible values. And intuitively, when we're talking about the best possible values for this line, what we mean is that we want the line that is going to get close to most of the data. Right? We want a line that is going to pass near almost all of the points, or as many of the points as we can. Okay? And so intuitively, we know what we mean by a good line or the best possible line. But what we want to do is we want to be able to define this mathematically. So formally, what we're going to be trying to do is minimize the distance between yi, right, the observed outcome that we have, and yi hat, which is the predicted outcome or the estimated outcome that we have. Those distances should be small between those 2 points. Okay? The line of best fit is going to be defined based on what we call the process of least squares estimation. It's not the only way to estimate our regression line, but it is the most common way. Okay? And least squares regression is going to give us a procedure that's going to define specifically what do we mean by the best possible line. Specifically, it's going to minimize what we call the squared error. So instead of just thinking about, well, how far is yi from yi hat, instead what we're going to think about is, well, how far is that distance, but we're going to square it, and then we're going to say how small can we make that distance overall, right? And the line that's going to make that distance the smallest that it could possibly be, that's going to be our best possible line. Okay, so what does least squares estimation look like in practice then? Well, for any predictor value xi, if we have estimates of the slope and the intercept, then we can estimate our expected value, right? So specifically yi hat can be thought of as being an estimate for the expected value of y given this value for little x, right? So if we plug in a little x here, then we're estimating a value for y. So we can think about that as being sort of an estimate of our expected value. This is what we expect to see for y, given that x is equal to some specific value. Now, in general, our estimates are not going to be exactly equal to the truth, right? There's sampling variability, there's measurement error, there's any number of things that might distort this relationship, but we expect that it should be close to that. So the distance between the estimate and the truth is what we refer to as the residual, right? It is how much is left over after we've given our best guess based on the information that we actually have here. Okay. So specifically, we're going to call our residuals EI. Okay. And EI is going to be given to us by yi minus our estimated value. Okay, and so sort of more neatly, we can write that's going to be yi minus yi hat. So that's going to be defined as our residuals. And in some sense, the residual is going to be viewed as an estimate of the random error epsilon. Right, so each term has a random error term associated with it, and this residual is going to be, in some sense, a guess as to what that random error actually is. Now, least squares estimation is going to seek to minimize the sum of our squared residuals. Okay, and so the idea is going to be that if we square our residuals, right, and then add those up, we want to find the line that is going to make that as small as it possibly can be. Okay, so specifically, we're going to be looking for beta 0 and beta 1, and specifically the hats of those, that are going to minimize this sum over all of our data points of EI squared. Right, if we write that out fully expanded, we're going to take from I equals 1 to n, yi minus beta hat 0 minus beta hat 1 times xi squared. And then what we want to do is we want to say, well, what are the values for beta hat 0 and beta hat 1 that make this as small as it possibly can be? Right? If we make this small, then what we're saying is that beta hat 0 minus beta hat 1 times xi is close to the truth, which is to say that we have small residuals or small overall errors. Okay? If this is large, on the other hand, then what we're saying is that we have large residuals or large errors, which means that the line is going to fit less good. The other thing that's worth just dwelling on for 1 second here is, why do we square this? Right? And the idea is going to be that we don't care whether we've missed a point from being too little or too high, right? If you are 5 below the line or you're 5 above the line, you're still 5 away. And so what the squaring is going to do, the squaring is going to get rid of that impact, right? If we just looked at the individual distances themselves, then negatives and positives might cancel each other out. And so instead, we're going to say, well, let's just look at the squared, because that makes everything just positive, and then we can find the line on this basis. Now, if we use least squares regression here, then what we're actually going to find is that we have a closed form way of expressing the values for beta hat 0 and beta hat 1. Right? In order to find those closed form, we actually require differential calculus, but if you don't have it, then we can still think about, well, what is the form of these estimators? And specifically, after we've solved that problem using calculus, what we're going to find is that beta hat 0 is going to be y bar minus beta hat 1 times x bar. Right? So we're using the sample means here of y and x, as well as our estimator for beta hat 1. And then beta hat 1 is going to be given to us by this summation up here. And the summation, if you look at it, it looks a little bit like a variance term, right? It's actually related to the covariance, the sample covariance between x and y. Okay, and then in the denominator, we have something that, again, looks related to the variance term for x, or the sample variance of x, right? But all of this is based fully on the data that we've actually observed, okay? And so that's going to give us our closed form estimators here, okay? If we find then beta hat 0 and beta hat 1 using these estimators, and then we plug them into that linear equation, we have what we refer to as the line of best fit. Right? It is the line that minimizes the squared errors. It's going to be our regression line. In some sense, it's the best possible line we can get to the data. Okay. Now, the slope estimator can be viewed as taking the sample covariance between x and y and dividing that by the sample variance of x. Okay, and so specifically, if we take the sample covariance, that's going to be Sxy here. We take that to be 1 over n minus 1, the summation over all of our data, x minus x bar, y minus y bar. Right, that gives us our whole sample covariance here. And so then if we take that to be our sample covariance, then dividing our sample covariance by our sample variance gives us beta hat 1, right? And so this allows us to then say, if we have y bar and x bar, and then we have the sample covariance of x and y, and the sample variance of x, then that's going to allow us to find both beta 0 and beta 1, our estimates for them. Okay, so we can take summary statistics from x and y, as well as from their association, and compute our regression coefficients that we require. Okay, in practice, regression lines are typically going to be fit using statistical software. So you might take R, for instance, and use the regression output that R is going to provide you. But if you had the summary statistics, you could actually use those summary statistics in order to determine the regression line. So we can take a look at an example here of actually trying to find our regression line on the basis of some data that are observed. So we have a biologist and they're studying the relationships between the concentration of a specific plant hormone, which is measured in parts per million, and the average growth rate of a particular species of seedling. Okay. They collected data on 10 seedlings, measuring the hormone concentration and growth rate for each. They find that the mean hormone concentration is 15 parts per million, with a standard deviation of 3. While the mean growth rate is 8 millimeters per day with a standard deviation of 1.5, and the sample covariance is found to be 4.05. And what we want to do is we want to find, well, what's the estimated line of best fit based on these data here? Okay, and so if we think about, well, what observations do we have? Well, X here, right, is going to represent our hormone, and Y represents our growth. Okay, and we're told that in the hormone, we have an average concentration of 15, right? And so that's telling us that X bar is 15, and that the sample standard deviation, so Sx, is going to be 3. We also know that Y bar is going to be equal to 8, and the sample standard deviation of Y is going to be 1.5, and we're told that the sample covariance is 4.05. Okay, and so these are all of the data that we have. What we want is we want to come up with beta hat 0 and beta hat 1. Now, beta hat 0 always requires beta hat 1, and so it's always useful to first calculate our slope and then find our intercept afterwards. And so beta hat 1 is going to be this ratio, Sxy, divided by Sx squared, right? And so that's going to give us our 4.05 divided by 3 squared. Okay, and then from there, we can take this value, plug it back into our form for beta hat 0, and then solve for what that actually has to be. Okay, and so then taking this all together, what do we actually see here? Okay, we're going to find the slope parameter estimate. Beta hat 1 is going to be 4.05 divided by 3 squared. Okay, and that's going to give us 0.45. Then we can calculate the intercept. That's going to be y bar minus beta hat 1 times x bar. So that's 8 minus 0.45 times 15 to give us 1.25. And therefore, our line of best fit is going to be y bar is 1.25 plus 0.045 or 0.45 rather times by x. Now, what I will point out quickly here, right, is that this standard deviation of y did not actually matter for us in this event here. Okay, and so we only needed to use the covariance, the means, as well as the standard deviation of x. Okay. So what does this actually look like visually? Well, here what we have is the data set that's actually used to find this regression line, right? So we have each of these individual points here, and each of these points is going to be thought of as taking an observation based on some concentration, looking at the growth rate that we've actually observed. Okay. And then using all of those points, what we notice is that there's this positive linear trend, right? As the concentration increases, so too does the growth rate, right? The line is pointing upward. But we want to be able to specifically put in, well, what is this blue line going to be here? Okay. And so what we're going to say is, well, this blue line, the best way that we can do it is we can think about all of these sort of error distances that we have here, right? So all these distances between these points and the line. And ultimately, what we want to do is we want to find a line that is essentially going to minimize these distances, but specifically, we're going to be thinking about minimizing these square distances. Okay. If we plug in this blue line as the line that we've observed here, so y is equal to 1.25 plus 0.45 times x, that gives us the line that's actually plotted here, and we can see that that does a pretty good job of actually representing the overall pattern, right? Each one of these data points is not going to be exactly on the line, with the exception of perhaps this one that we have down here. Okay? But the line does a fairly good job of capturing the overall relationship. There's still a lot of noise here, but if we were to use this as our expected value, sometimes we might be a little bit too high, sometimes we might be a little bit too low, but on average, we're going to be more or less correct. We can take a look at a second example here. Okay, so in this example, we have a psychologist that is investigating the relationship between the number of hours that is spent studying for a memory test and the test score that's actually achieved. They collect data from a group of 12 participants, recording the number of study hours and the corresponding test score out of 100. They find a sample mean study time of 7 with a standard deviation of 2. The mean test score was 80 with a standard deviation of 10. The sample covariance is 15. So what is going to be our line of best fit? Okay, and so once again, if we think about this, well, we're going to want to find beta hat 1, and we're going to want to find beta hat 1 first, right? And we know that that's going to be the sample covariance divided by the sample variance of x. Okay, the sample covariance we're told is 15. The sample standard deviation of x is 2, and so then we're going to want to take 2 squared, and so that'll be 15 over 4, right? Beta hat 0 is going to be y bar minus beta hat 1 times by x bar, okay? And we find that y bar is 80 minus 15 over 4 times by 7. Okay, and that will give us beta hat 0, and then we can plug in that y hat is beta hat 0 plus beta hat 1 times by x, right? And that will give us our overall estimated linear equation here. Okay, and so then actually taking these values, right, we can see, well, what does this result in? So we're calculating our slope. We get a slope of 3.5, right, 15 over 4, 3.75 rather. Next, we calculate the intercept, okay, and working that out, we get 53.75. So then y hat is going to be 53.75 plus 3.75 times by x. And so again, in this case, what we can do is we can actually visualize what's going on here. So we see here that as the number of hours that we study increases, so too do our points on average, right? We're getting sort of a higher score out of 100 on average, right? It's not a perfect linear relationship. We don't see everything sort of falling along a line here, but this line that we have in the middle here is doing a fairly good job, right? Each of these points we can think about, well, how far are they away from this line here? And what we're saying with the line that we've actually calculated, this y equals 53.75 plus 3.75 times x, is that if you were to take all of these distances, right, you fill in all of them, and then you square them, this is the smallest possible set of square distances that we could have for any of the lines that's going to try to fit these data. Okay? And so then on average, if you wanted to know, well, someone who studies 6 hours, what should they expect to get, right? What we do is we say, well, we're going to be around here, right? We come over and we say, well, that's probably around, say, a 75, right? And if you wanted to know exactly, we could plug in a 6 for x here. Okay, and so that's going to be the general idea in this case. So the simple linear regression is going to have parameters that are estimated via least squares estimation. The parameters that minimize the sum of squared errors are taken as estimates for both the slope and the intercept. And notably, these are going to be parameters that we can actually calculate the values of, assuming that we have a few different summary statistics. So specifically, if we have our sample means, our sample variance, and our sample covariance, we're actually able to calculate these observations. Generally, we're not going to be calculating these out by hand. We're going to be able to use statistical software to do it. But it turns out that if we did want to calculate them by hand, then all we're really going to need is some different summary statistics. Once we have the line there, that line of best fit can be thought of as the line that sort of intuitively is going to best capture the relationship that we're observing. We know it's not going to perfectly capture that relationship because there's measurement error, there's sampling variability, there's all sorts of noise that's going to be around that line. But on the whole, it should be a pretty good line to represent the relationship between those factors. And so using least squares estimation in this way is going to give us a way for actually practically estimating our line of best fit.